Hi guys, it's Hatchmano. How's everyone doing? Good. I hope. Today I am reviewing the brand spanking new fragrance to come from Etat Libre d'Orange, Experimentum Crucis. I have said that wrong so many times, so I got it right when it mattered. Yay for me. So this fragrance came out on the 1st of April. This one is all about Sir Isaac Newton. Experimentum Crucis is the name of his experiment where he proved that white light is actually made up of coloured light. And I'm going to leave it there because I am by no means a scientist and I don't want to make any weird mistakes. I have no idea what any of that stuff really means, but yay for that. I mean, it's a cool name, but they've kind of named it after that experiment and themed it on his entire existence. Of course, he is the man that discovered gravity when the apple fell on his head, and it's a kind of nod to that. So, what to say about it before I tell you the notes? I want to say this release, the last 3 releases from Etat Libre d'Orange to me have been tied together quite closely, and I'll explain that when I talk about the notes. It seems like Etat Libre d'Orange are on a little bit of a roll with the notes that they're putting in their last 3 releases. You or Someone Like You was the 4th one back, which was the super minty one with eucalyptus and violet leaves and stuff. And then they released Une Amourette, which was the first one that really showcased Akigala wood. What is Akigala wood, you might ask? Akigala wood isn't some mystical wood that no one's ever heard of. What it is something that was created by Givaudan. They fractioned patchouli. I guess kind of like splitting the atom apart. They took a fraction of patchouli, and it's kind of related obviously because it's a descendant of patchouli, and they named it Akigala wood. It's a new nuance that you can put in a fragrance now, and it's been used in a couple of other things I've smelled, but it's called something else. So Akigala wood is what was the main note of Une Amourette. Then they released I Am Trash. That was the release prior to this one, which was an not economical, that's not the word I'm looking for at all, environmental statement. They used all of the ingredients that are usually discarded. One of them is Rose Neo Absolute. They used apple pulp that's derived, apple juice is the first thing you get from an apple, then they distilled the pulp. And this one to me is a little bit of a follow-on from I Am Trash. Now, I've reviewed both of those fragrances. If you watched my I Am Trash review, you may have seen a bit of disappointment in my face because while I loved the statement and what it was about, it kind of petered out too early, and it was a gorgeous rosy apple citrus fragrance that kind of just fell flat for me. Experimentum Crucis is, to me, a little bit like I Am Trash Part 2, okay? I'm saying it in French because we're talking about a French brand, just for fun. I feel like they took I Am Trash and then enhanced it by a million and added a few new twists. So before I go into how it smells, I'll tell you the notes. So the top notes are lychee, apple and cumin. The heart notes are jasmine, rose and honey. And the base notes are this Akigala wood that was present in Une Amourette and musk. The rose in this one is their Rose Neo Absolute, which they also put in I Am Trash. This is why I'm saying they're linked. And apple also featured in I Am Trash 2. It was a rosy apple citrus to me. So, how does it smell? I will say that if cumin is your note of death, beware. I have warned you, okay? Because this one is kind of cumin heavy, but I love this. It's drying there, so let me just spray it. So they've kept the reference to Isaac Newton in there, which is great. Apple fell on his head. So when you first spray this, to me, weirdly enough, it smells like tea. It's not a tea fragrance at all, but somehow the cumin in this, the rose, the apple, kind of makes it feel a little bit tea-like, and it's altogether quite a soft fragrance. The overall feeling, the texture of it is quite soft. The way it smells in the air is very soft. It's not to me, a dirty cumin, because cumin can be the note of death, which I just said, so I did warn you. Some of the people that I work with think this smells like sweaty man. Some of the people I work with don't feel cumin at all. I'll leave you to decide. I get a little bit of both. It's kind of in the middle, I would say. There's a touch of fruity apple here. There's a lot of what feels like tea. It's like rosy tea, apples, and then the cumin kind of grounds the fragrance. It's like it gives it a little bit of earthiness. It doesn't feel like it's spicy at all, even though cumin is a spice, but the cumin kind of grounds it and it kind of pulls down the brightness and fruitiness of what rose and apple would be together. So it's kind of smooth and soft. In terms of the projection and longevity of this when you first put it on, I mean, oh my gosh, this thing way outperforms I Am Trash by a bazillion, okay? That's not even a number, but I'm just going to say that because it's one of the most, apart from maybe Rien by them and Secretion Magnifique, which to me are their strongest fragrances, this one can compete easily. It feels soft, it smells soft, but in terms of its diffusiveness and its longevity, man alive, this is a beast mode thing. I hate that term. This thing is crazy. It really, really is one of those things that I believe can fill a room. The sillage is incredible on this. I don't know how they've done it. And I need to make a point actually. This one I think might be the first one in maybe a new line of things that are coming, because it's the first time they've ever done a blue bottle. The bottle's really cool. It has this bronze label on it. It looks kind of sexy. It's really cool. And I've worn this a lot. When it came out, I tried it out, and lots of people that I work with said, wow, it smells really good on you. It doesn't smell really sweaty cumin, but then they tried it and they were upset. But, you know, you've got to try it on yourself, as always. That goes without saying. So the reason I say it's related to I Am Trash, you still have that rosy element, you still have that apple element. So it's like a dirtier, more interesting version of I Am Trash with no citrus. And I think it's super cool. It feels not casual in any way, but it feels like it could fit any season because it's got enough strength to cut through summer heat and also enough strength to withstand cold weather too. I can't wait to try it in winter actually. But they're calling it a chypre. They're saying, what if a rose fell on Isaac Newton's head instead of an apple? Would he still dive into his experiments and, you know, discover something else? So they've pictured, they're kind of flipping it on its head in the way that Etat Libre d'Orange do with everything. They're picturing a rose falling on Isaac Newton's head, still giving it the apple thing. And yeah, I don't know where the cumin comes in, but it's definitely there. It's definitely a note. And I think it's really cool. Yay, because I Am Trash was such a fail on me, and I didn't like Une Amourette either, so I was starting to lose a little bit of hope for Etat Libre d'Orange for my personal taste, but Experimentum Crucis has brought it back, so I'm glad. I don't really ever smell any jasmine in here. Honey, I think, is something that's in the formula. I can feel it, but it's not a prominent thing. It's kind of way, way in the background. And let's talk about this Akigala wood. Akigala wood, derived from patchouli, taken out of patchouli. It's like a photo neon experimentum atom they've taken out of patchouli and created an entirely new thing. To me, it's patchouli without the skank that it can sometimes give. Patchouli can sometimes be a little bit BO-like. It's still really cool. It's a bit drier. It's definitely woodier because patchouli is obviously a leaf. So it does feel like it's a wood as opposed to a leafy thing. And that is present too, and I really like it. I also sometimes get in this fragrance what I can only describe as something that feels a little bit like turpentine. I remember being at school and doing those oil marbling paintings, and you have to use turpentine to get the paint to swell, and it's got something a little bit like that sweet tang of turpentine in it, which I think is also cool. It kind of adds to it. It's another facet. So while the whole thing feels blanketed and dulled, it's not like notes jump out at you left, right and centre. It's all kind of one thing, but there's a lot of things inside there that feel really cool. So sweet tang of turpentine, just to add another facet as well. Interesting. This one on me isn't a super morpher. Like I said, I don't need to say again about the longevity and the projection and the sillage. All of that is 10 out of 10 for me. It lasts so long. 10, 12 hours easily plus. But when it dries, it goes a bit woodier, but it always retains its softness. The cumin is an ever-present note, so like I said, you're warned, be careful if cumin goes really funky on you, but I think it's definitely worth smelling. I will say, sometimes when I smell it, I almost feel the slightest touch of ambroxan, which is present in their Herman fragrance. I'm going to just call it Herman for short because it has the longest fragrance name I've ever heard. It's the one in the silvery bottle. So I think that is giving it diffusiveness. There's just a touch of silvery woodiness coming from somewhere, which I'm putting to that. Maybe they don't mention it as a note, but I can feel a tiny relation from this to Herman a mezza corta namanombra. So overall, this is great. I'm really glad. I can't wait to see what's going to be next. Experimentum Crucis by Etat Libre d'Orange. Try it out and see what you think. Rose apple, cumin, tiny bit of honey, diffusiveness from ambroxan, and this strange thing that's derived from patchouli, which is now known as akigala wood. Anyway, I hope you like this video. I'm Ouch for Mano. Click my logo down there to subscribe. Trying to make the world smell better, one video at a time. See you guys soon. Goodbye.